If everything is so great, why are millions of Americans sleeping in their vehicles? Michael Snyder reports. Have you noticed an unusual number of vehicles in the parking lots of major retailers in your area at night? If you look closely enough, you'll see that many of those vehicles actually have people sleeping in them. At this point, millions of Americans are sleeping in their vehicles every night, and this is happening even though we're being told that the economy is just fine. But of course, the truth is that the system is failing all around us. So if you get to sleep in a very warm bed in a very warm home, you should consider yourself to be very blessed because vast numbers of people are really struggling right now. The primary reason why so many people are living in their vehicles is because the cost of living has soared to unprecedented heights. In particular, the cost of housing has become extremely oppressive. In fact, housing in the United States has become more unaffordable than it has ever been before. This week, I was stunned to read about a 33-year-old man named Ishan Abe Sekera that's paying $2,100 a month to share a house with 23 other people. In a city as notoriously expensive as New York, it's common to see people in their late 20s and early 30s living with roommates to help manage the high cost of living. But Isham Abe Sekara has taken that to the next level with his current living situation in Brooklyn, a communal building that he shares with a whopping 23 other people. When I say I have 23 housemates, people are like, what? That sounds wild, Abe Sekera tells NBC Make It, but actually it's quite nice. He says, that's nuts. Now, who would pay that much to live with 23 total strangers? Of course, most Americans can't afford to pay $2,100 a month for housing. For example, it's been reported that some flight attendants that work for American Airlines are sleeping in their cars because the pay is so low. Most new flight attendants hires are required to live in cities like Dallas, Miami, New York, which have high costs of living that they cannot afford, Hedrick noted. American flight attendants are sleeping in their cars, she said. Some of them fight for tips just for the chance to eat the plain meals if the pilots don't take their meals first. Our new hire flight attendants are struggling, Hedrick said, adding that new hires most strongly rejected the 17% hike. When I was growing up, I always thought that those that were selected as flight attendants had very good jobs. But those days are long gone. In this economy, many flight attendants can't even afford a place to live. Of course, there are millions of others in a similar situation. In recent years, van life has become quite trendy, and more than 3 million Americans now fall into this category. Van life, or van living, is a term that's becoming more popular around the country. People packing up their lives, moving into a mobile unit, and exploring the States. According to Yahoo Finance, the number of American van lifers has increased by 63% over the last couple of years, going from 1.9 million in 2020 to 3.1 million in 2022. In the old days, if you lived in a van down by the river, you were considered to be a bum. But in this economy, living in a van down by the river is just considered to be normal. Needless to say, there are some van lifers that choose that lifestyle because of the freedom it offers. There are many others that have been forced to live in this lifestyle. A woman named Michelle Rose that used to own a home in Montana is one of them. 3.5 years ago, at the beginning of the pandemic, Michelle Rose was about to lose her Montana home, was having issues with her job, lost her mother, and put everything she owned into a van to live in it permanently. It was like, let's just do this. Let's just sell the house and get on the road, and we'll figure out things as we go. It has sort of been that way by the seat of my pants kind of life, said Rose. Michelle says that finances are the hardest part of van life for her. It's a constant worry, and finding work is also challenging. Another woman named Katie that works as a manifestation coach and at a local coffee shop admits that it was a tough mental adjustment when she started to live out of her vehicle. Katie J., who works as a manifestation coach and at a local coffee shop, spoke about the mental legwork she had to do to work through in order to reach a sense of belonging to the community. Van life is fun and cool and saves money, and it's flashy on Instagram and stuff, KDJ said, but it will bring up a lot for you to work through when it comes to not having roots somewhere. I'm a black woman. I'm already rare in Truckee as is. So to be also living in a van, I had so much stuff around that, so much shadow work to do around the limiting beliefs and feeling like I'm not supposed to be here and I should not be parking here and I'm going to get in trouble, she said. Now, a lot of these people have jobs and a lot of these people would not be officially classified as homeless, but the cost of living crisis has driven them to the brink of losing everything. Unfortunately, our leaders have never seemed to learn, and they keep borrowing and spending money at an unprecedented rate, and this continues to create even more inflation. If you can believe it, our government is now even spending up to $250,000 taxpayer dollars to teach Iraqi kids how to be climate activists. The State Department is offering up to $250,000 taxpayer dollars to an eligible nonprofit to teach Iraqi teenagers about climate activism. Iraqi high schoolers could receive eco-action clubs bankrolled by taxpayers that will teach them how to advocate for environmental reform in their home country, according to a grant solicitation posted by the State Department early this month. The clubs will have several objectives, ranging from developing an eco-agenda and action plan, which will generate climate change solutions, to running a social media campaign to increase awareness of the climate crisis. We're literally committing national suicide, but most of the population doesn't seem to care. Every election cycle, the big spenders are sent back to Washington over and over again. Meanwhile, more Americans are being forced to sleep in their vehicles with each passing day. Please do not look down on those that have been forced to sleep in a vehicle, because with a bit of bad luck, just about anyone could end up in the same situation. This is by Michael Snyder on the Economic Collapse blog. Please leave your comments and thank you for your support. This is by Michael Snyder. About the author, Michael Snyder's extremely controversial new book entitled Chaos is available in paperback and for Kindle on Amazon. He's also written 7 other books that are available on Amazon, including End Times, 7-Year Apocalypse, Lost Prophets and the Future of America, The Beginning of the End, and Living a Life That Really Matters. When you purchase any of Michael's books, you help to support the work he's doing. You can also get his articles by email as soon as he publishes them by subscribing to his Substack newsletter. Michael has published thousands of articles on the Economic Collapse blog, End of the American Dream, and the Most Important News, and he always freely and happily allows others to republish those articles on their own websites. These are such troubled times and people need hope. John 3:16 tells us about the hope that God has given us through Jesus Christ. For God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son, that whosoever believeth in him should not perish but have everlasting life. If you have not already done so, we strongly urge you to invite Jesus Christ to be your Lord and Savior today. Please support my Patreon account. The daily posts are 5 videos daily, and they are totally different from what I have on my YouTube channel. Thank you so much for your support and that you find all my content so interesting. You'll find the Patreon account details in the description box below.